My name is Casey, and this is the tale of a summer that flipped my world upside down. It all started at that rickety beach house on the Outer Banks, North Carolina, a place where the Atlantic crashes against the dunes like it's trying to wash away your worries. It was supposed to be our last big hurrah before college scattered us like sand in the wind. The house was nothing fancy, peeling paint on the shutters, a deck that groaned with every step, and that endless view of the ocean that made you feel small in the best way. My best friend Ryan's folks had rented it every summer since we were kids, but this year felt heavier, like we all knew it was the end of something innocent. There were 6 of us crashing there. Me, Ryan, his girl Brooke, our pal Dylan, Ryan's Aunt Haley, and his parents, Lisa and Tom. Lisa was the one who always stood out. She had this effortless vibe, like she owned every room without even trying. In her early 40s, with sun-kissed blonde waves that caught the light just right, hazel eyes that seemed to see right through you, and a smile that hinted at stories she wasn't telling. The days melted into bonfires on the beach, late-night card games, and Dylan's endless attempts at surfing fails that we captured on our phones for laughs. On the final morning, everyone was scrambling, packing coolers into Dylan's beat-up Jeep, shouting goodbyes over the roar of the waves. Tom had to bolt early for a work thing, kissing Lisa on the cheek before hopping in with the others. I lingered in the kitchen, nursing a mug of black coffee from a chipped cup that said, "Life's a beach." Lisa wandered in, casual in cut-off jeans and a tank top, her hair tied back in a messy ponytail. "Hitching a ride with them?" she asked, pouring herself some orange juice. I shrugged. "Yeah, figured I'd squeeze in with Dylan." She paused, stirring her glass. "Actually, Casey, could you stick around? I could use an extra pair of hands to button this place up. Ryan and Brooke are heading out soon, and doing it alone sounds like a drag." It wasn't a big ask. My summer job at the local bookstore was flexible, and my roommates back in Raleigh were more ghosts than company. "Sure thing," I said. Her face lit up with a real warm gratitude that made my chest tighten a bit. By noon, the house was eerily quiet, just the 2 of us and the distant gulls crying. The sun glinted off the water like diamonds, turning time into this lazy stretch. We got to work, folding beach towels, sweeping up sand that had invaded every corner, boxing up the pantry staples. "People sure know how to leave a trail when they're having fun," Lisa said, tossing crumpled burger wrappers into a trash bag. I laughed. "Ryan's the worst. You'd think he grew up in a barn." She shot me a knowing grin. He kinda did. I just hid it with throw pillows and curtains. Her humor was sharp but kind, like she was letting me in on a family secret. As the afternoon wore on, we shifted from cleaning to packing, Lisa methodically sorting what went home and what stayed for the next renters. I found myself watching her, efficient, graceful, never once complaining. Our talks got deeper. Her favorite 80s movies from before Ryan came along, stories of wild storms that had battered this house in years past. By dusk, she cracked open a bottle of chilled rosé. "A little thank you for the help, Casey," she said, handing me a stemless glass. I took it, fumbling for something witty but landing on a plain, "Thanks." We sipped slowly, leaning against the counter, with soft indie tunes playing from her phone and the sunset painting the room in pinks and oranges. "You're quieter than the others," she noted after a while. I looked up. "That a bad thing?" She tilted her head. "Nah, just noticing. The quiet ones see more." Her words hung there, heavy with something I couldn't quite pin down. After a light dinner of grilled shrimp and corn, we carried boxes upstairs. Her room was full of her essence, stacked books, sundresses hanging in the closet, old photos of a toddler, Ryan grinning toothlessly. We worked in comfortable silence, but the air felt thicker. Not awkward, but alive with unspoken energy. Around 10, she called it. "Come downstairs, I'll make us some chamomile tea." In the dim living room, lit by a floor lamp, she handed me a steaming mug, her feet bare on the worn rug. "I'm out at dawn," she said. "Sleep in if you want. I'll leave a note." I nodded, the tea soothing. Then she added, "Gonna grab a quick shower," and slipped down the hall. Passing her door later, I didn't mean to look. The knob was loose, leaving it cracked open with light spilling out. She sat on the bed in a towel, brushing out her wet hair. Our eyes met. Time froze. She didn't say a word, just reached out and eased the door almost closed. Not quite, leaving a sliver. In the guest room, I lay awake, the waves crashing outside, her gaze replaying in my mind. Accident? Invitation? I told myself it was nothing, but sleep didn't come easy. Morning broke gray and misty. Lisa was gone. A note by the coffee pot. Thanks for everything, Casey. Keys on the counter. Drive safe. Simple. All her. I sat on the deck steps, mug in hand, watching the fog roll in over the surf. My mind was a whirl of what-ifs, unfinished. Back in Raleigh, life settled into its usual rhythm. Work at the bookstore, late-night study sessions, and the hum of city traffic outside my apartment. But that summer lingered in my bones like salt on skin. A few days later, a storm swept through, the kind that turns streets into rivers and knocks out power for blocks. My phone buzzed with a text from Lisa. Power's out here. You nearby? Could use some company, just to talk. My heart did a little flip. I grabbed my keys and drove through sheets of rain to her place, a cozy craftsman house on a quiet street in Cary. She opened the door, hair loose and damp, wearing a soft cardigan over a t-shirt. The house glowed with flickering candles and a battery-powered lantern casting warm shadows. You're soaked, she said, tossing me a towel with a smile. Lemonade? We settled at her kitchen island, surrounded by photos of Ryan from T-ball to prom, a life documented in frames. She slid a denim jacket my way. Left this at the beach house. I blinked, confused. Pretty sure I didn't. Her eyes twinkled. Okay, fine, she admitted, sipping her drink. I just wanted an excuse to see you. The air shifted, charged like the storm outside. Lisa, I started, my voice low, but she cut in softly. I'm not trying to mess with your head, Casey. Her honesty disarmed me. You've got this way about you, she went on. Always watching, picking up on things others miss. It's grounding. Silence wrapped around us, heavy but not heavy enough to break. She stood by the window, lightning illuminating her silhouette. I should go, I said, standing, though my feet didn't want to move. Sure, she replied, but as I reached the door, she added, come back anytime. We ended up on her couch, mugs of hot chocolate steaming, talking about everything, her love for jazz records, my half-baked dreams of writing a novel, her stories of backpacking through the Smoky Mountains before Ryan was born. The storm raged, rattling the windows. In the living room, she lit another candle, the flame dancing in her eyes. This house holds a lot of ghosts, she said quietly. Old memories, choices I made, ones I didn't. We sank to the floor, leaning against the couch, the storm a distant growl. Her hand brushed mine, intentional but light. This is a bad idea, she whispered. I know, I said, but added, feels right though. She leaned closer, our foreheads touching, breaths mixing, not just attraction, but something deeper, like we'd seen each other's hidden corners. She pulled back, standing. I need to call it a night. At the guest room door, she offered me a place to crash. I nodded, the air humming. No need to leave the door cracked, I joked, trying to lighten the mood. Scared I'll get lost? She teased back, stepping closer. The door clicked shut behind her. Her hands found my shoulders, mine her waist. Tell me to stop, she said softly. I didn't. I haven't felt this scene in years, I admitted. That night was a blur of storm and stillness, electric and inevitable. Afterward, she rested against me, her breathing steady, the rain slowing to a drizzle. Morning came, soft light breaking through the clouds. We packed the last of her things in silence, her realtor stopping by to check the fuse box. She was leaving for a new job in Charleston. Thanks, Casey, she said before she left, for really seeing me. I nodded. Always. Months passed like pages in a book I couldn't put down. Fall hit Raleigh hard, leaves turning fiery reds and golds, crisp air carrying the scent of pumpkin spice from every coffee shop. I threw myself into freshman year at NC State, lectures on literature and late nights cramming with new friends, but Lisa's memory was a quiet undercurrent, pulling at me during quiet moments. We'd text sporadically, her sharing snapshots of Charleston's historic streets, me sending pics of campus follies. Nothing heavy, just light touches to keep the connection alive without stirring up what we'd left behind. One weekend in October, Ryan called out of the blue. "Dude, Mom's coming up for a visit. Family dinner at the house. You in?" My pulse quickened. Tom was out of town on business, so it'd be just Ryan, Brooke, Lisa, and me. I showed up with a bottle of that rosé she'd liked, nerves buzzing like bees in my gut. The house smelled of her famous lasagna baking, garlic and tomatoes filling the air. Lisa answered the door looking effortlessly put together in jeans and a sweater, her hair in loose waves. "Casey?" she said, her smile genuine but guarded. "Good to see you." Dinner was easy at first. Stories of college mishaps, Ryan teasing me about my bookworm ways. But under the table, our knees brushed once, sending a spark up my spine. After, while Ryan and Brooke cleared plates, Lisa and I stepped onto the back porch. The night was cool, stars peeking through the trees. "How's Charleston treating you?" I asked, leaning on the railing. She sighed, wrapping her arms around herself. "It's a fresh start. New job's good, teaching art history at a community college, but I miss the familiarity here." Her eyes met mine, and there it was again, that unspoken pull. We talked for hours after the others crashed, sitting on the swing with blankets, sharing dreams we'd buried. She confessed how her marriage had faded long before the divorce papers. Tom was a good man, but they'd grown into strangers. "I felt invisible," she said softly. "Until that summer." I reached for her hand. "You were always visible to me." The kiss that followed was slow, tentative, like testing waters we'd already dived into. It deepened under the moonlight, her fingers threading through my hair, my arms pulling her close. We broke apart, breathless. "We can't keep doing this," she whispered. "Ryan..." I nodded but added, "What if we could? What if it's more than a fling?" The next day she left again, but this time with a promise to think about it. Winter came, blanketing everything in quiet. We started calling, late-night whispers about books we'd read, songs that reminded us of each other. By spring, she'd visit more, under the guise of seeing Ryan. But we'd steal moments, walks in Duke Gardens, hidden picnics by the lake. One evening in April, as cherry blossoms fell like snow, she turned to me. "I've been scared, Casey, the age thing, the complications. But you make me feel alive." I pulled her into a hug. "Then let's try, for real." We kept it secret at first, navigating the guilt and thrill. Ryan found out eventually, awkward at best, but he came around, seeing how happy we made each other. Summers became ours, road trips to the mountains, lazy days in Charleston exploring cobblestone alleys hand in hand. Lisa taught me to paint, her laughter filling canvases with color. I wrote stories inspired by her, words flowing like the ocean we'd first connected by. Years later, looking back, that summer wasn't just a fling, it was the spark that ignited a love deeper than I'd imagined. We built a life together, blending families, chasing sunsets. My name is Casey, and this is our story. Proof that sometimes the heart knows before the head catches up.